ACT reading comprehension, more comprehension in less time. Part 3. This is Ken Boyd, the owner of St. Louis Test Preparation. Here's our email address and phone number. You'll see our website and YouTube channel at the end of this video. So this is part 3 on the reading section of the ACT exam, where we're talking about the types of questions you'll see and the difficulty of the two types. The hardest information will be last, and we mean that in two different ways. First of all, the passages you'll read, about 750 words each, there'll be 4 of them, are listed in your exam from easiest to hardest. Also, the 10 questions for each passage are arranged from easiest to hardest. 1 is easiest, 10 is hardest. That's good to know in terms of managing your time. There's 2 types of questions. The first is called referring. About 14 of the 40 questions in the reading exam are referring questions. They refer to information exactly as stated in the passage. Finding it should be evident and fairly quick. They may even give you the lines in the passage where the information is located. The harder questions and the majority of the exam are reasoning questions. The remainder of the questions ask about what the passage implies or suggests. It won't be apparent. This requires the student to make interpretations, generalizations, and to draw inferences. This requires more thought, and these questions are harder. Now, if you've taken English or even journalism, you know what a topic sentence is. Most of the paragraphs you'll read in the exam have a topic sentence supported by specific details. Usually the topic sentence is located at the beginning of the paragraph. For example, the United States has found fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan difficult. That's our topic. We're going to go on later in the paragraph to give you specific details as to why that's the case. So what do we do with the topic sentence? Well, in prior videos, I've encouraged students to mark up, underline, highlight, or somehow mark on the passage. We should focus on finding each topic sentence and marking it somehow, so that when you flip back to that passage from the question page to the passage, you'll be able to skim each topic sentence and isolate the paragraph that has the information you need. You're literally making an outline with all your markings so that when you go back to the passage, you can find information. Well, what about the answer choices? My opinion is read the questions in order. Most of my students perform best when they do that. They read the passage and then they read each question in order. Since the passage is fresh in your mind when you start, that method may allow you to answer several questions without returning to the text. You get them right off the bat. I really recommend using scratch paper. Many students list each answer number or letter on scratch paper. For example, it's question 11 and you write down A, B, C, D. And as you read each answer choice, you cross out the letter or number you think is incorrect. If you get stuck and you've got to skip the question and move forward, when you come back for your review later, you can look at your scratch paper, see that you've thrown out 2 choices, and just think about the 2 that are remaining. So the scratch paper allows you to stay on track and also speeds that final review when you come back around to answer the question. How about the wording of the answer choices? Well, if we think about that referring language that we talked about later, where the information is fairly easy to find, you might see phrases like according to the passage states, or the passage clearly states that, and that should be a tip-off to you that that information is going to be easier to find. The reasoning language, as we've said, is harder, and here are some phrases that you might see there. Infer from the passage that. The passage implies that, suggests that. Other phrases may involve the author's main idea is, the primary purpose of the passage is, the main thought. These questions require you to reread and infer, which is why it's important to mark up that passage as you go along. Not only are you marking up the passage, but as I mentioned, mark up the question itself. Why do you do that? It allows you to focus. For example, assume the question says, which of the statements is not an example of blah, blah, blah. By circling or underlining the word not on your actual booklet, you'll remember to look for the statement that's false. A lot of kids do a great job of reading and answering questions, but they misread the question. So let's mark up that question. Flipping back, the exam packet requires you to glance from the questions to the passage and back. Your eyes are moving back and forth. Marked up areas catch your eye. If you're scanning the passage and flip back to the question and you see the word not is circled, it'll remind you to look for the false answer. So it'll speed your reminding yourself what you're really looking for in the question. Here's our bibliography. This is a lot of great information, not only on the exam itself, but on reading comprehension. That's the end of part 3. You'll find more topics on YouTube. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, it's Ken Boyd STL. For live tutoring and live chat sessions, here's our website, stltest.net, our email and our phone. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.